everyone, it's Roger and James here from DisKingdom Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, well, Fox and Disney's buyout. We talked a couple of weeks ago about this kind of deal going through of Disney buying Fox and all that could come from it. And, talks were ongoing and they kind of came off. Well, last week, that story just blew up. Talks were not only going on, deals were being made, lawyers have been brought in, solicitors are being brought in. There's apparently talk that the deal could be done as of this week. Bob Iger has been rumored to be no longer leaving in 2019 if this comes in, because he's going to be staying on to keep hold of Disney. That means he's not going to be running for president in 2020, whatever it is. And it doesn't look like The Rock's going to be running for it as well. So that was going to be an interesting one. But on the side note, this whole thing with like Disney and Fox has just blown up. Things as of even like when we're recording this, literally we had a quick discussion before, like we probably need to get this one up like literally as fast as we possibly can, because it's changing. It could even be done by the time this video goes up. That's how quick this story seems to be moving.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's been rumored, but the rumors now have a lot of weight behind them.
Yeah.
So
neither company are talking about it. Stocks are going up and down. $60 billion is a number being thrown around, which if you think of it, Star Wars $4 billion, Marvel $4 billion, Pixar $7 billion, Fox $60 billion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but you look at the franchises that Fox has their hands in, not even just looking at the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, you just look at their general properties, like, yeah, they bring a lot to the table, no question about it.
And this is a big thing that really, like, for my interest as well, I'm really interested to see what franchises become owned, because there's a lot of, like, things of distribution deals, who owns what company, some people saying, like, Simpsons, well, that's not them, Family Guy, that's not them, and Avatar, well, that's owned by James Cameron, and this is owned by this company. And I'm there going, 60 billion, there's going to be franchises included in this and characters and stuff. And I've got to be honest, I did actually send out a tweet the other day of kind of going, I feel like this concept of the X-Men and Fantastic Four moving back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all that everyone seems to be focused on, and it's like there's so much more to this. There is so much more important things than just a movie right to a cartoon. This is so much bigger than just a Marvel, than the Wolverine and Deadpool joining the Avengers. It's kind of, I'm thinking, this is so much bigger than this.
Well, to be fair, most of the sites that we're looking that are following this are going to be, the comic and nerdy sites. So they're going to be like, oh, yeah, it's the X-Men. But yeah, if you look at more like the Wall Street Journal and the Forbes and the business ones, they're like, oh, yeah, it comes with these franchises and the aliens and, all this stuff. And you're like, okay.
My favorite Christmas movie of all, Die Hard.
It's the only Christmas movie. Thank you very much. I don't. You can talk about Charlie Brown or The Grinch or whatever. The Die Hard, the only Christmas movie. The original, just to be clear, the first one. But yeah, I mean, obviously, from our perspective, and from the perspective of the places where we get most of our information, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are the big part of the deal. But there's, like you said, so much more to this. It would not be a $60 billion deal if they're just like, give us back the X-Men. That's not the issue.
The thing is, as the week was going on, I was generally feeling like even if Comcast purchased thing, it was going to be the fact that Disney was going to be buying chunks of Fox. Probably they would have brought that rights back even if the deal had gone to Comcast, because they probably wouldn't have been able to sell it on, or they would have had because there would have been some contract, and they might have even brought Avatar or a few other things at the same. But it's like things like when they start thinking like, is The Simpsons included in this? How would that affect Universal theme parks? Family Guy. This whole thing as well, if they would own another third of Hulu, they get that massive back catalogue of hundreds of movies that go back things. Suddenly then the concept of Marvel movies, I actually think we'd get less Marvel movies because you wouldn't have to keep churning out so many. We wouldn't have like Dark Phoenix and Deadpool 2 next year if that was all kind of tying in. There's also the other thing of, some people like, that competition aspect of Disney, of another company going in. Disney have really cut back. They got rid of Touchstone Pictures. They got rid of Miramax. They didn't want to have these lower end movies. So whether or not they'd carry, because then you start having less cinema releases. But the other argument that I've seen as well is maybe they want a film studio to make smaller movies, to make direct streaming movies rather than going to cinema. So they want more content for that, because Hulu could then become the streaming service kind of through the back door, because they don't want to offer like a Disney one and then have Die Hard and Aliens versus Predator on there. But it also means they can pull everything from Amazon and Netflix, and they've got TV studios, also like we've said, like Sky TV, Star. There's lots of international things. This is so big. And it could all be done by Christmas. Next week, we literally could be talking about the deal.
They could be. It is worth keeping in mind, at least in the U.S., there are definitely things that will not be included in this deal due to monopoly laws.
Yeah.
So we won't know for sure what's included and what's not. And I think a lot of the television side of things are part of it. Like they already have their own television stations, so
yeah.
I don't think they'd be allowed to grab all the Fox stations and stuff like that.
I think the only one is the main Fox channel that might stay, but it's that thing of, like Simpsons is on that channel, I think, over there. But at the same time, Fox could end up leasing. They just might just buy TV shows in and not make anything of their own. I just feel for $60 billion there has to be some big stuff in there. For me, as like I'm scratching my head as part of like DisKingdom head on here of just like I could have an influx of 20 to 30 franchises coming in next week, of which I've collectibles, movies, TV shows. It's like for I'm just like, whoa, this is massive. It's just like, this is, I know, I want this, like, what franchise, I want that nitty gritty detail of what is included, what now is Disney owned, and also like from the point of view of like sports. I mean, I know a lot of the sports channels and stuff in America would be, I know Fox wants to keep hold of sport, but certain aspects, the smaller sport channels could move into ESPN, and how that affects the ESPN Plus streaming service, and for all these, I mean, it's not just a back catalogue of movies and TV series, because they're also taking on studios and a TV series and stuff. I mean, they could completely revolutionize the channels. The name, will they carry on with 20th Century Fox? I would imagine that would go, but I don't know.
No, I mean, it's a big brand name, and you don't want to phase out a recognizable brand name too quickly.
No, but then you've also got that other issue of if you still got Fox News and Fox, they want to keep that separate.
Well, then you just go to 21st Century Fox. But in any event, it's also not all sunshine and glory, of course, because we start to move back into this kind of, does Disney have too much power if they own Fox? And if they own the vast majority of the market share, do they have the incentive to continue making good movies, or do they just pump out everything with a license on it?
Yeah. The only thing to that is, we've seen before with some movies this year, Transformers, a couple other movies. If you just start churning out franchises with no heart and soul and bad movies, the cinema goers will stop going. They will not pay to go. Yeah. So I still think customers to king at that point. If they're not creating content that's good, DC, right? If you don't make something good, no matter what franchise it is, eventually you can kill it.
Yeah, and that is the risk that Disney has to make sure that they avoid. So far, we've been willing to tolerate 2 or 3 Marvel movies each year, a Star Wars movie every year, because they have been, on the whole, good. As you mentioned, WB with the DC movies are definitely feeling the backlash. Justice League didn't do nearly as well as it could have, and it didn't deserve to. It was not a particularly good movie, and moviegoers did reward Wonder Woman because it was a good movie, and it did very well at the box office. But at the same time, part of what keeps people going to the movie is that competition. that's what keeps the producers honest, the people who do the budget honest, is, well, if we don't make a really good movie, then Universal's going to make a really good movie, or Fox is going to make a really good movie, and they will steal the money that should have gone to Star Wars or the live-action Beauty and the Beast, or whatever's down the pipeline. And competition does force companies to do better.
I'm going to be honest. At the end of the day, the minute they started all coming around and like Universal and Disney are in competition, it's like, actually for me, I was actually thinking in some ways, splitting franchise and splitting it in chunks and bits going to different companies probably would have worked better for us as a consumer. As much as I love Disney, there is that thing like, some of this stuff might not necessarily be good for you to have all of this, because I mean, the only thing that if this all goes together, I was like looking at Universal Studios going, you could look, that whole Simpsons area could be like, but then also there'll be deals and stuff that will stop doing stuff. But Disney can't utilize all these franchises well enough because they haven't got enough space or money to do stuff with. But then it'd be like, right, do they then make in Hollywood studios can have Die Hard and Aliens and things like that in? There are so much questions, and we know so little, and it's like, for me, like, Sky, that whole thing could change and the channels could all be mixed up, and suddenly it's like, do we have ABC? I have an ABC instead of Sky One, and it's like, it does so much to this thing of. And even just like Fox own game companies like Fox Next, which are making Marvel Strike Force and TV shows like It's so big, and this, like, I was sort of thought Avengers and the Fantastic Four. This is literally just like, that's like cappuccino topping. That's literally right. There's so much underneath here that. I can't wait to see what details are coming into this and where this could go. Absolutely.
My final thought on it is, if we don't get an Ufufi alien chestbuster, then this whole deal is a failure. That's all I want.
Oh yeah,
an Ufufi.
Yeah. One of them. It's that's that thing. And like I said, this is going to be big. This is going to be, if this all does go ahead before Christmas. This will change Disney in a massive way, because there's been talks of bringing the Murdochs on to the CEO. I don't think that's going to happen. They ain't going to pass Disney over to. They might be one of the Murdochs might be on the board, but this has. But then it also brings in the other thing as well. These old these old things, they're all being conglomerated because media is changing so fast, and what was working isn't working the same way, and Disney are becoming the content kings, and I don't think they like Netflix and Amazon getting as much power over the media as they were.
Well, no, obviously Disney on the corporate side over the last several years has shown that they want full control over their properties, just straight up and down.
It's going to be interesting, yeah. I was putting together an article the other day of just like what franchises could be, and I'm like Googling, and each time I'm going and like, well, who owns this? And Ice Age suddenly becomes a Disney franchise. And
God, they can leave that one out.
But then you look at some of the franchises, and it's not quite clear of James Cameron's been quite open about how Avatar would fit Disney. He pretty much said Disney have made more investment in Avatar than Fox have, so he's more than happy to work with Disney. But then do they own Avatar, or will James Cameron own it? Disney then own. To me, I look at old movies as like, well, how much value really is in like Titanic now, because
can't really make a sequel out of that.
No, it's the kind of thing of, it's just going to be it's just going to change. It could be so big, and I can't help but feel like if this deal, and I think it will be happening, we're going to be having, and we're pretty much going to have to like break down each section and go through it all, because there is so much depth to it, and I don't think sometimes that's been really put across of just how $60 billion. This is so much bigger than buying Lucasfilm or Marvel.
$60 billion is one of those numbers that's just so large you can't even conceive of how large it is.
Yeah.
I have no.
You figure how many trucks full of pennies you'd need.
I have no basis of reference for that amount of money.
No.
$60 billion. What could $60 billion buy you otherwise? Literally anything.
Yeah.
There is nothing that man produces that you could not buy for $60 billion.
But also, if Disney buy this, it almost makes, because there was all that talk of like Apple buying them. Apple had a big enough war chest to buy Disney. This purchase would actually, I think, make them too big for even another company to buy them.
That's true. Actually, you know what? A final thought on this is I think they should have just taken that $60 billion and invested in a true Star Tours ride.
Yeah.
Just go to the stars. This is the new Star Wars ride. It's Star Tours 2.0.
Yeah, this is like one of those stories that if you'd said to us 3 months ago, you just would have laughed in their face. I would have understood Disney buying the movie rights back to the X-Men and stuff. I saw that coming when they did the Legion TV series. I actually saw that coming, but yeah, this was just like, whoa, this could change just the face of Disney for a long time. It's that big. But we'd love to know what you guys think.
Yeah. Even up until last week, I was like, no, there's no way this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So
we'd love to know what you guys think of this. As per usual, you can hit that subscribe button on YouTube. You can also hit that subscribe or follow button on the audio platforms that you are listening to this on. You can also check us out over at DisKingdom. And if you do that, make sure if you do like us or follow us, hit the little bell notification, especially on that Facebook, so you get all of our updates, because most people don't realize only if you do like it, you only ever see like 1% of their actual stories. But on that note, James, where can they find you?
Find me heroiclegacy.com.
And on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. We shall see you guys soon. Laters.
I bet.